So the second hurdle or barrier that I came across was not trying to make somebody the Jack or Jane of all trades, but to differentiate who's doing what within the organization. I realized I've got to get out of my own way, and I have to kind of elevate to the role of CEO rather than trusted tax preparer.
Hey, this is Christian Jones, and you're listening to the Pro Marketer podcast, where whether you are in tax compliance or preparation, or maybe you're in tax resolution or accounting, whatever part of the slice of our industry that you find yourself in, this podcast is designed to bring you tools, strategies to help you market and build your business like an absolute pro. And we have the privilege of having AnthonyMauriello, who is an existing client of TaxProMarketers, on the podcast today. Anthony, say hello.
Hello, Christian. I might, and if you don't mind me patting myself on the back, I might be one of the first of the clients from TaxProMarketer. Been around quite a bit, man. So thank you for your many years of service and dedication that your team delivers.
Absolutely. We're glad to serve you and work with you, Anthony. And Anthony's got a wealth of wisdom, but just some of the highlights for you, Anthony. Tell me if this is all right. 6 offices on the East Coast. Got a big team, a variety of services that you're offering. You guys are busy, but you found a way to grow with not losing joy and happiness in your work. You're still grinding, but you've built a practice that I think a lot of people would aspire to want to get to. And there's principles and things that I hope we pull out today in our brief chat, just to kind of help other people that are looking to take that journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to be just a free ranging conversation between Anthony and I. But let's just start, Anthony, with tell me, let's go back to the origin story. What got you into this space? What was the beginning, first few years like? And then let's move forward to present day. But let's start with the beginning.
Sure.
When did you start your practice, and what was that like?
Yeah. Very default. So in college, my neighbor had his own practice. He and his partner. I was in college. He said I stayed home. I didn't go away to school. He says, "Hey man, we need some help during tax season in the office. Collate." And this is long before e-file, man. You can tell by the snow on the roof here. We need help collating, photocopying, assembling tax returns. Which I did, man. It was an hourly gig, but really gave me the entry level from the ground floor up. What it looks like, what the forms are, what their names are, where they go, when we used to have to staple and mail everything in. And also kind of gave me a really nice foundation of working with an existing firm, seeing what a tax preparation firm looked like. So that got me through school afterwards. They said, "Hey man, if you're going job hunting, start here." At that point, I really thought they were more seasonal than can support me for a full year. But obviously, as you know, we all may or may not know, there's tons of other services we can offer our clients, which they did, bookkeeping and sales tax and things like that.
Right.
So so that got me going there. A year after I graduated, I got my enrolled agent designation. Shortly thereafter, I was so amped up, man. I love doing what you do, Christian. I love the marketing and the strategies and the leverage and the scaling. And one guy was an old IRS agent, retired IRS agent. The other guy was his brother-in-law. So it was kind of like he was sandwiched between the old generation, the old school way of doing things, and me, who was just looking to let's get a website built or something like that. So I felt like he was always the tug of war guy, we just had so many differences in how we really kind of thought the business should be run. I was a guy out of school, so maybe it was a little brazen of me. But, got to a point where they're like, "Hey, man, listen, we value and see what you want to do. We just don't want to do it, and if you're okay with it, cool, there's a place for you here. But if you think this is something that's really holding you back, good luck. Take your client, gentlemen, Christian, like no non-compete, no animosity. It was kind of like, here's your ball. You want to play on the field down the block, be our guest."
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's a generous spirit. Okay, so then that starts your firm. That starts you
Yes.
off, and you're one office. You're probably cranking tax prep. You're offering other services, and let's go a little bit faster to this next seasons. But like, tell me about from then to now. What have been some of the biggest tipping points for you as you've grown your business to now? Again, 6 offices,
Yeah.
I mean, how many hundreds of clients and across a variety of services? We don't need to go
Mhm.
through all those numbers, but you guys have a large scale and you didn't get here overnight. What are the
That's right.
things that kind of were the biggest walls you had to climb over or tipping
Yeah.
points you found, things that helped you move
Mhm.
from one office to where you are now?
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, you want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go with a team. So the first tipping point or realization that I knew I had to make was hiring a qualified staff that can help me on this journey. I don't know if you've ever read the E-Myth. I'm sure we all make the same mistakes. You hire one person, you have them doing a million different things. So the second hurdle or barrier that I came across was not trying to make somebody the Jack or Jane of all trades, but to differentiate who's doing what within the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And the single largest realization and tipping point that I made was I realized I've got to get out of my own way and I have to kind of elevate to the role of CEO rather than trusted tax preparer. And Christian, you asked before, that was a wall that I hit pretty hard, and it makes you second guess yourself, but it also makes you realize that client who you've been loyal to and they've been loyal to you, they are also the tether that's going to prevent you from growing your firm maybe to where
Mm-hmm.
you want it to be.
Mm. And specifically, like your relationship with your clients that you felt like you were the bridge that you couldn't undo.
Pretty much, man. A lot of my clients started out, I was their paper boy, and fast forward. And, if this year we've got 6 or 7 offices, I'm not in all of them. So, hey, we can get you in with John Smith. He's our preparer in that office. Everybody here probably gets the same pushback. No, I've got to see Anthony. I was his paper boy. He was our paper boy. I know him forever. I only want him to do the return.
Right.
You've got to come to terms with either having that conversation with the client. Listen, thank you. If I expect anybody to be understanding of my plight, it's you, because we
Yeah.
have been together so long.
Right.
And if anybody's going to trust me, it should be you. And if I trust this person, you should as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to be ready to let go. If they say, you know what, you're getting too big for your bridges, I'm going somewhere else, you have to say, okay, because insisting that they only see you or only speak to you is definitely what is going to limit. You can only do so much in a 24-hour day.
Right. Right.
It's a tough realization, Christian. It's really
Yeah.
brings you to the point of like, you've got to be willing to first find somebody you trust to carry on the name of your firm. And secondly, have an understanding client who accepts that person as just as valid as speaking to you.
Right.
And thirdly, be able to stick to your word if they're threatening you to say, I'm going to go somewhere else if you can't see me.
Right. Right. And the alternative of not having made that pivot is some reality of you get, 1,000 clients maybe that are just tied to you or less. Like I would think 1,000 might be high, that
Yeah.
you just build a business that you might hate. Do you think that's fair that if you hadn't made some of these changes, you just might not enjoy what you're doing?
I think I think I spent 2 years feeling that exact emotion. And every year, and honestly, this is the first year that I did not sit with clients, that I didn't see them. I troubleshot. I did act as bridges. I developed relationships, and it was not a joy. It's still the struggle of tax season. But when I went home every single day, I told my wife, I just don't know how I did that every day, helping and supporting the staff, answering phone calls, seeing clients who come in, doing the tax returns, troubleshooting, fixing errors, seeing drop-offs. So like you try to be everywhere, but again, you reach that saturation point. You're burnt out. I had a full head of hair when I started. So I spent many a season thinking well, listen, it's only 4 months. This is what has to be done. But like you said, man, I started to do it begrudgingly. I started realizing, you raise your price $5, somebody's complaining.
Right.
And it's like, they want to see you. It's about the price. And what do? You say, you know what? Tell them forget the $5. Just get them out of here. You're frustrated. You're backpedaling at that point.
Right.
When I took a little bit off my plate, and now I could either spend time to say, hey, listen, $5, that's a carton of eggs. Like,
Right.
silly example, but it definitely freed me up to do more valuable spend of my time than kind of the trench work.
Absolutely. And how big is your staff now, Anthony?
You know what? It fluctuates. About 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you're not, this first tax season, this last one, you're not meeting with clients regularly. You've got a key trained group of leaders in your company that are meeting with clients, overseeing other staff, and you get to steer the ship from the back. Is that fair?
That is a fair assessment. Yes, sir.
Tell me a bit about, because I think if I'm talking to a lot of folks in our industry, some of the things I might kind of like balk at or just be like, I don't know if that could be me. Maybe that's Anthony, and he's got whatever he's got in the water or in the mix that made that happen, but I can't find staff to hire that I trust, that I can delegate to. How did you make that happen?
Years and years of trial and error, and some people come and go. You have to retain who you have a really good fluid working relationship. Try to prevent any cracks in the foundation in a relationship, and especially an employee relationship. We have some newer faces this year. We have some older faces still with us. After tax season last year, we had a few people who did leave. People move, they get married, they're tired of doing this, any number of things, So that I think continues to be a challenge.
Sure.
That again, although this is not my ultimate goal, I also know having my own reserves built up, if I'm short to prepare, I can sit in a back office with a pot of coffee and bang out tax returns until we find another person to sit in that role.
Right.
Not taking on water elsewhere.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so there's definitely more wisdom and things we might come back to that got you here. But you just mentioned the ultimate goal. What's your next step? What's the goal on the horizon for you right now?
Yeah, I like to add a lot of value. The true name of the company is My Tax Fellas Value Creation Corp. We try to just be proactive and add value to our clients and the services we provide. So I try to mine our own acres of diamonds. We use a lot of the client stack software that we discussed the last time you and I spoke.
Yeah.
We use that daily, and that helps us not only expand our growth to new clientele, but also keep our finger on the pulse of the clients that we have. And to me, that's rewarding. I think in 2024, the IRS is doing something almost like the state does with an annual statement. They're doing it's like a business integrity something, or I forget its actual name. Right. But every business needs to register the beneficial owners. That's what it is. And to me, it's just like I see this as an opportunity. Look, if we're going to bill $100 or $200 or $500 to fill this out for every corporation we do, and that can only be done January of 2024, that might pull us in $100,000 in that first week of the year. So I love seeing opportunities like that and using software like Client Stack to make that available to us.
Right.
So I like that catbird seat, so obviously love to expand and get new clients, maybe open up other offices now that we have a system that works.
Yes.
But in addition to that, nothing pleases me more than serving the clients we already have and just being that go-to guy. Hey, Anthony, do you have an insurance guy? I'm buying a house,
right.
Again, with the proper labels and tags and client Client Stack, we're able to find, call this one or this one or this one. Really cool.
And hey, for anyone listening that doesn't know what Client Stack is, that's a part of our services that we offer to our clients. It's a Swiss Army knife tool that's CRM, billing, text and email, dozens of things. And Anthony and I had a pretty robust conversation that you can find in your members area. If you go to taxpromarketer.com and get a login, if you already have one, that conversation around client stack with Anthony is a really rich example of, hey, when you get stuff really organized, dialed in, and clear, and you have a team that can execute, that workflow management system and that organization system can help you scale. Maybe that's a wall some of y'all have. How long was it ago? I know we talked about this in the last podcast, but how long was it ago that you guys first started really working in Client Stack?
I want to say about a year or so.
Okay.
Thereabout.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously, the time invested in setting it up right, in doing the maintenance. Look, sometimes a client leaves. You want to offboard that client. You don't want to waste those resources reaching out to somebody who went elsewhere. So the time involved to keep the integrity of that is so well worth it. That, like we said, now it's truly a tool that will allow us to scale and send our message to our own market so fast.
Oh, that's great. And that was one of my favorite interviews we've done around Client Stack so far,
Thank
Anthony.
you.
So fun.
Well, Mary and Sam carried a lot of that as well. I've got to give it to them.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. What was it like before Client Stack? Was that, I mean, obviously, I think you're highlighting that was maybe one of the things that helped you scale in a sustainable way and maybe gives you vision for new offices. But like, I'm in tax season 2 years ago. You don't have Client Stack. What's the difference?
It was a lot more manual culling of our data. What we'd have to do is go into our tax software, find the criteria of who we're looking for. Nobody without Client Stack and having a label or having a sales tax label, a bookkeeping label, self-employed, insurance guy, retail. So without those parameters, if I wanted to search you to get my message to that market, we'd have to manually cull our tax software, export it into an Excel spreadsheet, upload that into some sort of mail system, and either email or call or have our database that way. So much more, we did it, but I mean, what now takes literally an hour or two, depending on how customized we want it, would take us quite a bit to be able to get that same message out.
So efficiency, speed, you're able to make decisions more quickly.
Speed to market is tremendous. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Great. What are the other things that if I am looking to grow my tax practice, my accounting practice, wherever I find myself, if I'm staring down the barrel at the end of the year in tax season, and maybe I'm new, or maybe I just haven't, I don't know, maybe I just left public accounting, or I've got a different background, and I'm trying to think about how do I grow this business? We've talked about the eMyth, a great resource. We've talked about systems like Client Stack, getting out of your own way and trusting and delegating to your team. What else would you recommend to someone, those hard-earned points of wisdom that you fought for?
Thank you much, man. I think, again, you can scale and leverage, but I think the true wealth for us was constantly listening to the client's needs and meeting them. I mean, when I first started, I did defensive driving courses. Again, I'm thinking, hey, at that point, I had a database of 300 names. Okay, I'm in New York. Not all of them are in there before Client Stack. Let me find out only who's in New York, only who can attend these defensive driving courses. And at that time, if I billed them $95 for a 4-hour course, I mean, I'm not going to do the math. It's maybe $20 an hour. If I had a class of 50 people every weekend of the month, I made myself some extra money. So that out of the box thinking, I don't think it's always about the size or the number of clients, because like I said, you're going to reach a saturation point. What truly, especially early on, was find the needs of those clients. Maybe if you find yourself leaving public accounting, now you're doing tax work, get yourself your insurance license. Team up with an insurance broker and say, hey, listen, who wants to go to a whole life or a life insurance seminar that I'm going to hold in my office, or a webinar or something to deliver extra products to them?
Hmm.
Because again, you'll be amazed at, number one, what those products can do, the residuals that they'll pay you, and
Right.
just the thanks that you'll get from your own clients once you tap into a need that they thought, or maybe they didn't even know they needed
Right.
until you brought it up. We see somebody who has a child. Hey, did you hear about the 529 savings plans for college?
Right.
Did you know that you can get that child a whole life policy, have it build up a cash value, and come college age, borrow against that to pay for college, have no student loans, have the cash value to pay for it outright, and the dividend pays it back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you're going to blow their minds with, wow, that's so cool. I never heard of that. Tell me more.
Right.
And you're just solidifying yourself in their life to not this one time a year tax guy, the guy across the street's $20 less. I'm going to go there, because
Right.
you're looking out for them and their family.
I love that. Man, that's great. So try and find ways to add value, which is listening, paying attention, and then being resourced and equipped and ready that when tax season comes, you've got other things and other conversations and maybe even other text and email campaigns you can fire out to help people know, I want to be more than just your compliance person. I want to be an advisor in your corner.
Exactly. And that differentiates you from the market.
Mhm.
Everybody's worried about AI. Again, there's a tax office up the block. I'm not going to be lemonade 5 cents, lemonade 4 cents. I'm not competing on price. I know the value of our product. I know the resources we can deliver to you. We're going to compete on the value that we create and what you perceive our value to be.
Mm.
That's truly what sets us apart, not on price. Because if you don't want that customer who's going to haggle you every year or go
Right.
somewhere else if they find it for $5 less, it's just not
Right.
worth it.
And that's maybe like one more thing. And then I want to talk AI in the industry as a last thing. But um, let's just be clear. You're finding regularly new leads that are valuable, that don't just compete on price or aren't looking for you to compete on price, that become good, awesome clients in the long run.
1,000%.
That's for some people, they haven't experienced it yet, right? And so they're just trying to figure out, is that real? Where do most of your leads come from? And I'm not trying to serve us by saying that. I'm not trying to be
Right.
leading with that, but like we're probably a part of it. But like, where do you find these people?
Without a doubt. Like I said, the more you do for people, how do you get what you want? By giving others, serving others. The more you do for these people, and genuinely within our own base, because it becomes, again, not just this guy did my taxes, but once you work through their needs, and then maybe, again, if you have an alliance or if you are licensed for insurance broker or any kind of broker, and you're either allianced or allegiance with one, now you're joining forces. And whether you have an agreement with them, hey, let me offer your base a complimentary tax review
Mm,
or anything like that.
mm,
So to me, it's truly just seeking out the needs of others, serving on that. And you'll be amazed at, again, that growth didn't just say, hey, this guy did my taxes for cheap, fast, and look at the size of my refund.
right.
It was, this guy did my taxes. He looked at last year's, realized there was a mistake, mentioned this for my child. You got to go to this guy. And again, we can find other services to provide maybe that client.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. That's great. Well, last thing, and then let's get you out of here because I know you got a busy day
Thank you,
still
brother.
ahead of you. Hopefully wrapping up soon. But AI, our industry, maybe both. But like just tell me, like, what are you seeing for us as an industry and AI and how that relates? Doesn't seem like that's something you're worried about. But what do
Not,
you think about that at this point?
yeah. I think it's a compliment to what we do. Just like Client Stack leverages technology to
Mhm.
benefit the human aspect of it. I'm certainly not worried about being replaced by it. Because maybe it can do a tax return faster than me. Maybe more accurate. We're all human. We make mistakes. But I do think there's limitations on it. So I think if anything, and there's a chat bot, if there's something that could pre-fill a form or an appointment application or things of that nature, I see it as complementing or a human extension, not a threat to us.
Yeah.
And I think even within Client Stack, I think there's aspects there where we can say,
Right.
hey, we can get a lot further, a lot faster by implementing certain aspects of AI.
Yeah. Yeah, and there actually are a few AI features in Client Stack
Yep.
already. I think there's an image generator and
Right.
a couple of
Right.
other things. The website chat, I think, has an AI predictive
Yep.
tool, and
Correct.
more that's coming. And so, like, again,
It's awesome.
position yourself to know what's going on
Mhm.
and then leverage it instead of, putting your head in the sand for 5 years and realizing our industry's changed yet again. Because I think that
Exactly.
is going to be a thing is like the tools are going to change and being ahead of it is going to make your life easier, help you scale, and it's something that not everyone will do, but those that will, it's going to just be, I think, a blessing and something that's a compliment instead of a threat.
And I don't think you need to be a techie geek to ride that wagon, man. I think teaming up with somebody like yourself and those tools, I know it's there. I don't need to know the nuts and bolts of it.
Right.
I just know I have accessibility to it.
I love that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, Anthony, that's great, man. Any parting thoughts from you?
Yeah. Hey, have at, man. If anybody has questions, wants help, the market is tremendous. Anybody wants help, we're more than happy to help them out, share some advice, help them. If you need a bridge between, hey, Anthony, what was that client stack about? People want to know from our aspect. Please feel free. Anybody can reach out to us.
That's super kind of you, Anthony. I really appreciate that. And thanks again. I mean, we've had you on now
My
twice
pleasure,
in a couple of
Christian.
months, and I'm
Yes,
sure we'll
sir.
do it again. And guys, thanks for joining the Pro Marketer podcast today. Keep an eye out for new content. We'll be putting some stuff out over the coming months with other clients, other industry experts, just trying to serve you guys have helpful and relevant conversations to get you prepared, not only for tax season, but just for building the business that you want to build. And Anthony, thanks for contributing to that today.
This has been my pleasure, Christian. Thank you very much, man.